Dawn breaks on a prehistoric Earth. The first rays of sunlight pierce through a hazy atmosphere. In a small corner of this restless planet, a primitive creature stirs after a long night's rest. Slowly it moves, taking its first breath of the day. For this fragile being, survival is not guaranteed. It is a daily battle in a world untouched by humankind. At this time, Earth had already existed for billions of years, but life was still in its earliest forms. The oceans, vast, dark, and mysterious, were the cradle of existence. Within them,
dawn
tiny
is upon
organisms
us.
drifted with the currents. Joined by ancient jellyfish and the first armored fish, sheathed in protective plates like natural armor. These waters were alive with strange forms, unlike anything we know today. On land, new forms of life began to emerge. Giant ferns and towering club mosses spread across the damp soil, creating the planet's first great forests. The air was heavy with moisture and carbon, fueling the explosive growth of these plants. Within this lush and swampy world, enormous insects thrived. Dragonflies with wingspans over half a meter, scorpions as long as an arm. This was an age where creatures grew to astonishing sizes, thanks to the rich oxygen that filled the atmosphere. But this world was far from peaceful. Earth was unstable and violent. Volcanoes erupted without warning. Earthquakes reshaped the land, and the seas advanced and retreated in endless cycles. Entire habitats were erased in the blink of a geological eye. Early waves of mass extinction struck, wiping out countless species, leaving only the hardiest to endure and evolve. But even in such chaos, life pushed forward. Fish developed stronger fins that transformed into primitive limbs. Some daring creatures left the safety of the sea, crawling on to land for the first time. These amphibians marked a turning point in history, the conquest of the continents. For the first time, vertebrate animals claimed the land as their own. The forests grew thicker, darker, and more immense, absorbing vast amounts of carbon from the atmosphere. Oxygen levels soared, allowing animals to reach sizes unimaginable today. The land burst and echoed with the sounds of giant insects and early amphibians, while the seas remained dominated by armored fish and bizarre marine predators. And then catastrophe struck again. Towards the end of the Permian period, over 250 million years ago, Earth faced the greatest extinction event in its history. Over 90% of all species perished. The oceans turned barren, the forests withered, and the once thriving ecosystems collapsed into silence. It was as though life itself had been reset. But even in the aftermath of destruction, life endured. Tiny survivors clung on, evolving, adapting, and preparing to give rise to entirely new forms. From this devastation, a new age would soon emerge, an age that would one day belong to the dinosaurs. Today, all that remains of this world are fragments of stone and fossil, locked deep within the Earth's crust. These silent records, fossilized footprints, ancient shells, and petrified forests, are our only window into a time before the giants. They tell us a story of struggle, of resilience, and of evolution. The prehistoric world, long before the dinosaurs, was a grand saga of beginnings. It was an age of first steps, of fragile survival, and of extraordinary change. And though it has vanished for over hundreds of millions of years, its legacy endures, reminding us that every great chapter of life begins with small, uncertain origins, forged in the chaos of a restless earth.